Well, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Drive Facebook Live. I'm Bob Spitz with my partner, Tony Whistler, and our very special guest today. We have Chris from Bill's Crestmoor Automotive in Denver. And Chris, hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
Well, we're good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Always, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I know you've been gallery mode, please.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I
and
can do that.
we've been talking recently. I know you've been having some interesting times at the shop, and I was wondering if that's a wig you're wearing. Did all your hair burn off, or
No, but still it's getting grayer though. Every day, a little bit more gray.
Oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Chris, why don't you, for the folks in the audience who don't know you, why don't you just introduce yourself and how you came to be a shop owner?
My name is Chris Probst. I'm with Bill's Crestmoor Automotive. We're located in Denver, Southeast Denver. I married into this business 21 years ago, and we've been working on building it ever since. I started with Drive 20 years ago, and we're still making it happen. So we're doing better and better every day.
So it was never your personal goal to own a shop. You
No,
just
if you would have
kind
asked
of,
if you would have asked me 20 years ago, so I always wanted to own my own business. And when they do that 5-year, where you see yourself in 5 years when you're in high school, I always wanted to own my own business. If somebody would have asked me if I ever would have owned an automotive repair shop, I wouldn't have just said no. I would have said hell no. So, but that being said, I've learned to love it, and I've learned how to fix cars. I can turn wrenches. I can write service like no other, and do all the back office stuff. So
Yes.
cool.
Now
I've learned a lot.
you did come with that experience to the business, right? Back
I
office.
yeah, I have an associate's in accounting.
Well, that's very handy because, an awful lot of folks in our industry, it's a weak point in an area they really don't want to confront is their finances. And yet that's the area they've got to confront.
Yep.
And they tend to just turn it over to someone they hope they can trust. And the next thing you know, they're in trouble.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not that hard, but that's me personally. So
No, once you're willing to do the do, and there's an awful lot of do in finance.
yeah, Bill and Brian, my business partners, they're not real stoked about the whole accounting aspect of anything. So
No, I'm
they're
sure
glad I handle most of that.
I'm sure that's true. We have had a finance workshop just about as long as we've been around.
Mhm.
I helped Mike develop it back in '96, and it was kind of pulling teeth to get some of the shop owners to attend it. But when they did attend it, they walked away going, "Oh my gosh,
I
now I
attended
know
that
where
one way back then.
now I know where the money is."
Yep.
Yep.
Gotta know where your money is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, you're in a unique kind of club because you're kind of a minority in our industry, a female shop owner.
Mhm.
Is there any challenges you have found, or have you
Got a trick
pretty much
question?
tackled that challenge? And
There was, and at times there still is, not so much anymore, but early on, I had to retrain all my customers that females, it's okay for females to be in this industry. One of my big dreams is to change the stereotype of this industry at one car at a time, and we're trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, I've had customers, flat out sit in the front office, and I tell them, "Oh, I'm gonna go check out your car." "Oh, you can't look at my car. You're female. All you are is nothing but a pretty face at the front desk." Well, that doesn't work real well for me. So there's been there's some vendors that I've had in the past that if a woman called, they would be treated not so nice. But if one of my male counterparts called, "Oh, hey, yeah, how you doing, Bill? Long time,"
mm,
we don't work with those vendors anymore. But
No,
but
don't
yeah,
need
no,
them.
there's definitely challenges trying to prove yourself as a female in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I always said at the seminars, when we used to do the seminars coast to coast, and there's always been a recruiting problem within our industry. It's not a new thing. People think it's a new thing. It's not a new thing,
Mhm.
right? There's never been a lot of techs. A lot of people who'd like to be techs, a lot of people who think they're techs, but actually competent techs. I said, one of our problems in our industry is we ignore 50% of the population. And I
Yep.
know there's women out there who would like to get into our industry if you will make your shop attractive to them and make
Yep.
it and help them into our industry, because that is one of the challenges. There's this organization, Women in Industry. They primarily focus on training women for the collision industry, but they're still running into problems of shops accepting women into their shops and being willing to work with them and bring them up to speed in a way that they can win at the game, not overwhelm them.
Yeah, I would love it if we don't get a whole lot of applications for female technicians. I would love it if we would. We do have two female service advisors that work in the front. I'm going to be starting in 2024. I'm going to be starting a car care clinic that's going to cater to women and new drivers, and then we'll branch out to other avenues as well. But a lot of my staff or a lot of my customers know that I'm working towards that, and my female customers are very receptive to it. We get a lot, as a female owner of the shop, we get a lot of women. The majority of the people that come here, I think it was 64% of our clients found us on Google. They were female, and I think having a woman owner has helped that to make that a known thing.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Sure,
That's great.
absolutely. And I'm a little old school. I started in this industry back in the 60s when it definitely was not attractive for women to be anywhere near a shop, right? I just can't even imagine it. But attitudes have changed, people have changed, and I think it's an awesome opportunity. Plus, so much of what a shop has to do now is analytical. It's not brutal grunt work. Nobody's pulling a cylinder head off of a Chrysler Hemi that weighs 80 pounds,
Right.
right? It's trying to figure out why this car isn't running right, and it's usually something to do with the computers. So it's very analytical. So
Yep.
we need problem solvers more than anything.
And you
Yep.
were saying that you actually have wrenched in your shop. What is that experience like?
Well, about July of last year, we lost our entire staff. One went out for an emergency, and everybody else, I guess the grass was greener somewhere else. So we lost all but one guy. And he was a technician, lost both my service advisors and the other 3 or 4 techs that we had. And I had teched a little bit prior to that when we had been short staffed, but Brian and I had to jump into a bay in the back, and I knew some stuff. Bill has taught me a lot, but we got to where, booking 40 to 60 hours a week out of a bay. I mean, when it needs to happen, it needs to happen. If you need to learn, you need to learn. You just got to jump in, because you got to keep things going, even when you don't want to, and they're down and you have short staff, and you just got to keep on keeping on. So,
Yep.
Yeah, nothing like
we
demand
jumped
to
in-
raise your necessity.
Yep. So
Absolutely correct.
I jumped in the back, and Brian jumped in the back with me, and we got work done, and we're still here. Last year was our best year ever, as a matter of fact.
Well
Very
done.
good.
Even better than that.
That's awesome.
That's
It's
great.
wonderful to hear.
Now you're about to embark upon a new chapter in your life, and Tony has been very instrumental in that. Tony, why don't you talk about that?
Well, I want to introduce our newest instructor here at Drive. Everybody say hello to Chris Probst, because she is going to start actually specializing we're going to have her delivering our financial workshops because you heard earlier she has some financial background. And she will start with Drive as an employee on Monday. And her first workshop that she's going to deliver is a workshop called Key to Understanding Your Financial Reports, and it will start on November 13th. I am a big fan of having shop owners deliver these workshops because they have their finger on the pulse of what's happening day to day inside the shop. And so if you have not wanted to do a financial course with us because you think it might be a little boring or a little dry, or just don't want to confront your finances, this is the perfect opportunity because Chris will take you through it. She's very kind and she'll make sure you understand it. And she'll be able to directly connect it to what's absolutely happening day to day in your shop. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to doing as an instructor, Chris. I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, teaching and helping other shop owners has always been a passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would do it for free, to be honest.
Hold on, let me take a note. Let me send that over to HR right away.
I appreciate, everything else, but no, I just want to help other shop owners succeed. And I know that finances is an area that most people ignore as much as they can until they absolutely have to handle it. Here at the shop, I do everything in-house. The only thing I don't do are end of the year income taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I have an accountant that does that. I am not a CPA or a tax accountant. I don't like taxes. I don't want to be involved in taxes, but I do, I handle our payroll taxes every month. I handle our sales tax every month. I handle any other taxes we have to pay every month, which helps me keep the accounting expense down for when they do taxes at the end of the year.
Sure.
But so I do all the yearly stuff, and I am excited to help other shop owners learn how to succeed in that system or that department, the accounting department of their shop. So, and that's really what I want to do is I want to share my experiences and help anybody else out that I can that's struggling so that they can be successful too. Because I fully believe that anybody in this industry, if they're passionate about it and they're willing to put in the work, they can absolutely succeed.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely true. No
Yep.
doubt about it. And
Yep.
it's just learning what you need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
facing
people
it
say
and
experience is
implementing
great,
it.
but experience is very expensive. And if you're going to
Yes.
attend a workshop to help shortcut that learning curve, by all means, do it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Deanna Cole is watching. I think you know Deanna.
I know Deanna. Hi, Deanna.
And Hector Linares is also saying hi.
Hi, Hector.
And with that in mind, I also want to mention that Deanna is also a new instructor of ours, and she is going to be instructing a workshop next week. She was onboarded this week, and she'll be instructing a workshop next week. And then we'll onboard Chris next week, and we'll have her instructing in the middle of November. So we have two brand new, spanking new instructors. I'm really excited to have both you guys on board. I had them training together, and having these two guys in a training class together is always fun. I had them in the same Zoom meeting a week or so ago, and that was a lot of fun having both of them. They're great. Also, I wanted to ask you, what's your take? Because you obviously have that financial background. I also made sure that you did all the financial courses when I was consulting you back. You might have done them before, but I had you do the newest versions of them back in the day. I just wanted to get your take on what you took away from those workshops when you were actually a student or when you were an attendee of those workshops. Any thoughts on that?
I thought the classes were very informative. For me, the class that I took, it was pretty basic, and there were a lot of holes that in the whole process back when I took it back then. But it was a good starting point. The class was a good starting point when I took it. I mean, I pretty much knew everything he was already talking about. Bill was in that class with me, and we did the keys to understanding your financial reports. So together. So that was reading your P&L, profit and loss, and your balance sheet. And that class did make it easier for him to understand what he was looking at. It was just getting into the dynamics and actually breaking it down piece by piece and what it all meant.
Right. Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we've known for a long time, and we've tried to help shop owners on this, and keys and understanding financial reports goes a long way to accomplishing that, is the importance of making sure your chart of accounts is set up correctly so that the P&L actually makes sense and it's not garbage in and garbage out.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
and one of the most important things about that, depending on what system you use, and if I use QuickBooks. I'm been using QuickBooks for decades, but making sure that you have your cost of goods in with your cost of goods as opposed to your wages. So your production wages need to be in with your cost of goods, so that when you're looking at that profit or that loss, that that includes your payroll for that staff, and then your front is different, like the little like the pie, 20, 20, 40,
right.
and all that. So
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you understanding that is gonna help an awful lot to helping anybody who attends that workshop start getting their wits around it. Now, one of the problems we've been running into in throughout the country actually is a shortage of competent bookkeepers.
Mm.
Fortunately, you don't run into that problem because you're doing your own bookkeeping.
right.
But that's one of the challenges that we've found shops are having is finding a competent bookkeeper.
I don't know a whole lot of bookkeepers, but I know they're out there. I know there's a lot of for my end of year stuff, for my income tax stuff. I have an actual CFP CPA that I use. And by being able to do what I can do in-house, it makes that bill a lot smaller. And keeping track of my paperwork and everything else that I do from an accounting standpoint on a day-to-day basis. Accounting is not, accounting can be complicated, especially if you don't know a whole lot about it, but it's basically checks and balances. Finding a bookkeeper, if you absolutely don't want to, finding a bookkeeper is key. And I know they're out there. You can find Craigslist. Craigslist was a good avenue for way back when people were looking. And I know there's some basic bookkeeper, like if you Google it in your area, you can Google bookkeeper in your area. There are, what are they called? Like staffing agencies that are looking for people that want to work specifically just with bookkeepers. So that's a possibility too. They are out there. I know that.
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of finding them and then finding one who's got the bandwidth to take you on.
Yep.
Some of them are, especially the good ones, they're very busy.
And then depending on the system that they have too. Most of my accountant, they work with Peachtree, they work with QuickBooks, they work with, I can't remember the names of the other systems. There's a ton of systems that are out there right now. So,
Yeah,
but
well, Oracle, has come up
Oracle,
with
that was
NetSuite.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people are moving to that. Peachtree, boy, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't
Just
either.
to show you how long I've been in that industry.
Yep.
Yeah. I've also recommended shop owners to get involved in their chamber of commerce, because that's where you tend to meet the better shop owners or the better business people in your
Business
town,
people. Yeah, exactly.
and find out who are they using. Who knows who? It's a numbers game.
Networking is big. Yeah, networking is big. Networking, I love networking. I love networking with the shop owners that I see at the conventions or in classes. I also like networking with there's a few Facebook pages that I belong to for automotive networking. I know there's a bookkeeper one out there for Denver too. Just like an
Oh,
account
interesting.
type forum.
Well, that's cool.
They have pages for everything, but Facebook is also probably another good avenue to use if you're looking for something like that.
Right. And
Right.
I would certainly say use the Drive Facebook page and network
Yes.
there. If you need a bookkeeper, I would just shoot it to everybody.
Yep.
Let everyone see that. For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
So how was the expo for you? Did you have
I
fun?
love the expo. The expo was so much fun. So every time I go to an expo, I always get something out of it, no matter what. I was in a couple of courses with you at the expo, Tony, and there were things that, some of it was a great refresher, and some of it I walked away with new stuff. It's like watching the same TV show over and over and over again. You notice something different that you didn't notice before. Every time I'm at Drive, I learn something new, or I come home with something new. I'm pretty sure I've got a book that's got about 40 pages full of notes in it. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, business isn't static. And every time you attend a workshop, you're kind of in a different place with different problems, different concerns. And you can sit in a workshop and something rings true to you, and that's what you're looking for at that time. And then the next time you do that workshop, there's a different aspect of it that's ringing true, and you go, oh my gosh, because you've either grown into that point or you now have that situation and you're looking for a solution to it. So, I've always been a champion of never do a workshop just once. There's so much to know, especially in finance.
Yeah, and I'm in the process of retaking courses I've already taken, just so that I can refresh myself and make sure that I remember and all that, because I do. I mean, I take something away from it every time I go. I learn something new every single day, in one way or another. And I think that networking and talking to other people, taking those courses, going to the expos, I think that's all very important.
Very healthy. And what I was going to say too is when you do the workshop, like Bob was describing, the thing that comes to light when you're in that workshop at that moment is whatever the thing is that's going to help you solve whatever situation you're having. And it can be different each time you do it, like he was saying. But I also have just a strong belief from an instructor standpoint is repetition is key. So I am all about doing workshops again and again and again, for sure.
Well, and a lot of people, they're visual learners as well. So sitting in a workshop and seeing it on the screen and hearing it as well, but and then being able to go home and practice that repetition is key, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how I learn how to fix, it's how I can do breaks pretty quick, but it's repetition that got me to that time frame, not
That's right.
That type of stuff.
Now, speaking of learning opportunities, I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. You were recently at the 20 group meeting.
I was.
Yeah. How did you like that?
That was awesome. Seeing everybody that was there. There was about 20, I think it was 28, 30 people. I think they were all there. Being able to see Dennis's shop, that was super cool. But looking at his organization with the different areas he had in his shop and how he handles his front counter and his production staff and his accounting, and that gave me new ideas of things to do here at my shop. So that's learning too, and that was it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because everybody's got their shop is all shops are similar, and every shop is different.
Yes.
And everybody's an individual, and they've got a different way of approaching things. And you'll see somebody apply a concept that we've taught in such a unique way. You go, wow, I never thought about that, but boy, that's a great idea. And when you're in that 20 group, you get that chance to experience that by visiting other shops and hearing what these top shops are doing and how they're approaching business and the problems that they face.
Well, and not only that, I mean, being a part of the top 20, I think it's very special because they're more so advanced shop owners that have done this for a long time, and they've fought through a lot of the struggles that I've gone through as well. But being able to sit with them and know that, okay, they've been here too, and that everything could be running great, and then all of a sudden it all falls apart. So now you've got another struggle you have to handle. But knowing there's other people that happens to is so helpful. And then being able to talk through with them the issues. Like right now, my current issue is training. I've got an entire shop that's fairly new. They need to be trained. I am overwhelmed trying to train them all. But listening to having them help me with come up with a plan and stuff to handle that and to tackle that, it makes me feel like I'm not alone in this, and I can get ideas from them that I can implement here. And that's actually helped, because I've actually got a few days of training in. So
Excellent. Yeah, you know, that's one of the beautiful things about the 20 group and also the expo, because you can get the idea that you're all alone. Because in some ways you are. Your shop is out there and you're battling it every day, and you don't get to really talk to other like-minded people. And you get to the expo, and then you know, you realize you're not alone, and others have similar situations, and there's always some bright idea that you pick up. You go, wow, that was smart.
yeah, and everybody's stats are mountains and valleys. Nobody's stats are a straight line or a straight upward pace. But you know, everybody has their struggles. And talking to other shop owners, especially in the industry, I mean, you can go home and talk to anybody you want about what happened at work that day, but being able to actually get feedback to help you fix the situation, I think that's very important and very helpful. And my top 20 group is awesome. The entire top 20 group, all the people that I met a lot of people for the first time at the top 20 meeting last weekend. And it's an amazing group of people that will go above and beyond to help other people despite how busy they are. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because, you know, nowadays everything's so fast paced. It's like we work and we sleep and we eat, but being able to get help from other people and have somebody that actually understands what you're going through actually respond to that, that's huge. That's big.
Awesome.
Absolutely. You know, before we run out of time, because we're getting close here, I want to just get into a time capsule, and we're going to project ourselves a year from now. And what do things look like a year from now, Chris?
A year from now, I will have a fully trained staff that can run autonomously without me having to be here. I will have a bigger building, because my 3-bay shop is proving to be very small. And I'll be taking more vacations, I think.
Nice.
That's great. You know, I used to always have to clear the word vacation at the seminar and say, vacation came from the word vacate. That means you leave.
That's right. You have to leave.
Exactly.
Yep. And you know, this year we're on track to hit 1.3. Next year, I think we'll probably hit 1.5.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
That's
well, I love that vision. So until before I end off here, I want to quickly mention next week's show is going to be featuring Z Chiti from Millennial Transmission and Auto Care. Don't forget to come and join us there. And Chris, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see you, and it's very exciting that you're coming on board as part of the delivery team of Drive University.
Very
I'm
excited.
super excited.
Yes, yes. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. Oh, there was one other person who said hi to you, and that was Roxy Chasso.
Hi, Roxy.
That would be your consultant, right?
Yes, that would be her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
nice.
Once again, thanks so much, Chris, and
Thank you
for being with us on Drive Facebook Live. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, I'll definitely see you next week. Okay, see you guys.